Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. This is Debbie Rauscher with John Burton Advocates for Youth. It's just 2 o'clock on the dot, and I see we've still got people joining, so I'm going to give it another couple of seconds, and then we'll go ahead and jump in. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So for those of you who are just joining, this is Debbie Rauscher, and I am with John Burton Advocates for Youth. So we're so excited today to be able to present this webinar to you about the California Foster Youth Initiative AmeriCorps program. And I'm going to be turning it over to the folks who are intimately involved in that program in just a minute, but I just will say by way of introduction, that this is really an amazing, innovative, wonderful program. And so we're just thrilled to have the opportunity to share it with all of you and to help you to get involved in the program and actually experience some of the benefits of this program yourself. It's a tremendous opportunity that's being made available here. So we're just thrilled to have folks on and to be able to share this with you. So I'm going to turn it over to Sherry Schroeder, who's going to introduce the rest of the folks that are going to be joining the webinar today and share some information with you. So take it away.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Debbie. Thank you for the John Burton Foundation opportunity to share this. As she mentioned, I consider this an amazing project that perhaps can change your programs as it's done for mine at Woodland Community College serving Yolo County. And I just really am thrilled that we have this opportunity to share out what has come to be over the last 3 years and an ability to really step in and open doors, wider doors of opportunity for our California transitional age youth and our young adult dependents, our non-minor dependents. So today you're going to get to hear from several of us that actually are part of this project and several of our AmeriCorps members as well. So presenting today will be myself. So I kind of wear 2 hats. I've been given the privilege and the honor to participate in helping develop this program through the Child Abuse Prevention Center that was contracted by California volunteers and the AmeriCorps project to step up and say, if you had a magic wand, fairy dust, to really change the lives of our teen and young adult foster youth, what would you do and how would you do that if we could incorporate AmeriCorps? So I got invited in, was brought on by the Child Abuse Prevention team, and I have had this amazing privilege to work with Mike Baldwin, who is the CAP Center statewide manager. Tabitha Greer was brought on as the manager of this program and has become all things AmeriCorps. And then you're going to get to hear from Colette Bradley, who's with the Siskiyou Office of Education, who also has an amazing AmeriCorps, Isabel, Jessica Mendoza, who actually started as an AmeriCorps, California Foster Youth Initiative AmeriCorps, with the Kern County Youth to Leaders Education Foundation. She was immediately promoted up and has become a supervisor of our now largest AmeriCorps project under the California Foster Youth Initiative. And then I have my amazing Zahira, who is an AmeriCorps, also a non-minor dependent. So she's one of our 3 California AmeriCorps working for Woodland Community College in partnership with the Yolo County Office of Education and our Yolo County Health and Human Service Agency Transitional Age Foster Youth Unit. So you'll get to hear from all of us, and we're really excited to each one share our specific pieces. So as I move us forward, you know, the next slide is really kind of what this personifies how I looked at this opportunity and this initiative. And so really when you look AmeriCorps, and I call it kind of the 3 or the 4 E's that AmeriCorps can bring. So really, I told Zahira, you know, we ran a really nice independent living skills project at Woodland Community College, and we had youth coming to our classes in person. What we didn't do well is outside that classroom door. So having an AmeriCorps literally provided this ability to extend our engagement with those youth and then really just enhance our program. And I know now that, you know, there's several of us, I think Colette would agree. I know Robin Smith at Glenn County Office of Ed. There's many of us that got on this initial opportunity, and we would all say, this is what we've been waiting for our entire careers, to really take our programs and make them into something far more and do what we'd always hoped we could do. And it's really with this extension of AmeriCorps. So really, it's putting out our hands. We're trying to do a better job of reaching. I've always used reached in our classes with our youth, and it was really about really building this respect and this empathy, building attachment and acceptance, really kind of cherishing the child, really kind of building that kind of expanded confidentiality. And the H was always to have a little bit of fun. And I have to say that AmeriCorps has certainly even increased our ability to have fun. And we're doing a lot of so much more amazing things with all of that. So the next little slide is just giving us a little overview here of what we're going to do this afternoon. So our goal is really to help you understand what is AmeriCorps, what is this California Foster Youth Initiative AmeriCorps, how can it really help you? What does it matter? Like, how does each one of us take this? It's not a scripted program. We can really build this in as you hear about this. And I'm hoping as we talk and speak this afternoon, you start to think about how could I better use this AmeriCorps project to really expand and enhance our programs, really script it for your particular program, whether you are an independent living program, an office of education, a foundation, a CASA program. Really, we have a variety of people statewide. This isn't for just Northern California, it's anywhere in the state of California. And we have this chance to really bring you on at this point. We're going to share what AmeriCorps can do within the boundaries of their service, how it can benefit not only the AmeriCorps. I think Zahira and Isabel and Jessica will each one say that this experience of being an AmeriCorps has lifted them from feeling as if they're a client into the chair where their voices are respected, and they feel like they are a respected professional member of our team and all of the teams that they work with. We're going to give you the top 10 list of what the CAP Center can provide for you and really how this can benefit you. And then the very last of this, Tabitha and I and Mike are all here as you go down the road. If you're interested in this, we're going to give you our contact information and really hope that you reach out, and then we can do some individual conversations about how to really make this work for you. So I'm going to turn it over to Mike Baldwin. As mentioned, I consider him all things AmeriCorps at the Child Abuse Prevention Center. I just consider him such a beloved and honored and just an amazing colleague that I've had the privilege to work with. So Mike, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Sherry. I appreciate that little introduction. And I want to thank everyone for being here today, and thank the John Burton Foundation for, for having us. I want to start with just a little bit about the CAP Center so you have kind of a perspective on who we are. The CAP Center has been around for about 40 years, and we are a state, national, and international advocacy, training, and resource center really dedicated to protecting and engaging with families to build healthier families across California. We have been at this work for a long time. We have been around since the inception of AmeriCorps back in 1994, and so we're actually in our 26th year of providing AmeriCorps services to the state of California, and we are just overjoyed with the opportunity to work with foster youth. The CAP Center is in Sacramento, and we're actually a collaboration of several organizations under the umbrella of the CAP Center. The organizations that we're currently working under, or that currently work under that umbrella, are the Child Abuse Prevention Council of Sacramento, where out of that we actually run several initiatives and AmeriCorps programs specific to Sacramento County. We have Prevent Child Abuse California, which is a nonprofit where we function within all of our statewide programs, like the AmeriCorps programs that we have, of which we actually have 5 AmeriCorps programs that we run out of our office. And then last, we have the California Family Resource Association, which is an association that provides advocacy, training, and support to family resource centers across the state of California to strengthen the impact and reduce child abuse and neglect across the state of California. So we've been very active in this work, and we are dedicated to our mission of reducing or eliminating child abuse in California. Next slide. So what is AmeriCorps? Well, AmeriCorps, as I said, started back in 1994, and it is a fantastic way for young people or people older than 18 years of age to engage in volunteer or national service to provide some real impact within their communities. AmeriCorps has been around, like I said, since 1994, and it is a great national service program. It actually happens across the nation, not just in California, and it functions to do a number of different types of services, including we do much in the social service arena. There are AmeriCorps members that do lots of outreach. There's AmeriCorps programs that do, nature, a whole variety of different types of AmeriCorps programs that happen. Ours are really focused around social services types of things. And so with that, we do our program, which is the California Foster Youth Initiative, which was launched in 2019. And actually, the initiative started as a Sacramento-based program that was running for 14 years prior to FYI. And that Sacramento-based program, we were encouraged and approached by our partner, California Volunteers, to take what we were doing, the impact that we were having in the Sacramento area with foster youth, and expand that across the state of California. So we're very appreciative of that encouragement and the funding that's provided to us by California Volunteers that is engaged across the state in national service projects, but also volunteerism in general across California. One of the things that you may have seen more recently is California Volunteers is very involved in the California for All initiative, and a lot of the services that are happening there are actually supporting the national pandemic right now in a variety of different ways. So they are really involved in that whole service-based initiative. So specifically, next slide, about the California Foster Youth Initiative. What is the goal? What are the goals of FYI? Well, it's actually very simple. The goal is to improve the outcomes for foster youth. To improve them by relationship, by having relationships with mentors, to focus on their achievement and their outcomes in areas like life skills, financial literacy, schooling, school engagement, graduation, really wanting them to be ready to take that next step into the larger adult world as they are exiting the system. So the mentorship that happens through the Foster Youth Initiative is primarily to help those foster youth be ready for that next step in their life. Our hope, as Sherry said, is that we continue to engage partners like yourselves to be a part of this fantastic work and to utilize the AmeriCorps mentors to do the services in your community and strengthen your programs. Next slide. So in speaking about outcomes, there's a significant impact of the mentorship that happens through the FYI program, and these are just a few. And looking at this, we utilize the KC Life Skills Assessment to identify areas of need and then progress for the youth. In 2019 and 2020, in that program year, 98% demonstrated competency in 3 or more of the KC Life Skills domains. 95% of students promoted to the next grade level. 95% of the students and youth that were served demonstrated improvement in financial literacy knowledge. 94 demonstrated improved academic engagement and social emotional skills. And then this one I think is probably our most proud, honestly. 90% of the seniors who were in the FYI program being served graduated with a high school diploma on time. Knowing the state average for foster youth is approximately 55 to 60%, and that number has been running in that area for many, many years, 90% is a huge, huge success for the impact of the Foster Youth Initiative. Next slide. So obviously there's a huge benefit to the foster youth, but there's also huge benefits to your agency. The California Foster Youth members, they are amazing in how they can help serve, engage, and expand your programs to better serve the foster youth that you're already engaged with. Mentoring, as I've said, is a proven way of serving the youth, and it is a priority. AmeriCorps, and this is a big part of it, AmeriCorps the funds that we get pay for 2/3 of the cost for a member. So to put that in perspective, if you were to hire a full-time mentor, it might cost anywhere between $35,000, maybe $50,000 with salary and insurance and all the benefits, right? That cost is the cost for an AmeriCorps member is a fraction of that because there is funding available for organizations through us to get the AmeriCorps members on board. So it's a cost savings. The youth with lived experience, we encourage those youth with lived experience to become the members, to enter into this professional field and become mentors. And then, honestly, lastly, your program gets to be enriched. This is kind of what Sherry was saying. It enriches your program. It expands your program. And AmeriCorps enhances your program beyond where you're at now. And it is an incredible opportunity. So I talked about the benefits to the people that are served, the youth, talked about the benefits of the agency. I'm going to pass it to Tabitha now, and she's actually going to talk about the benefit to the AmeriCorps members and the benefit of being in AmeriCorps. So Tabitha, it's all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mike. If we could move to the next slide, please. So thank you, Mike, for providing that overview of AmeriCorps and the CAP Center and how our program benefits partners as well as impacts the youth that we serve. Beyond that, like Mike mentioned, it's also a huge benefit to our own AmeriCorps service members. So it's really that three-tiered benefit. The agency receives a benefit, the member receives a benefit, and the youth being served receive that impact. So the benefits to our members include a set living allowance, which is issued twice a month, and it provides a reliable and steady income that they can count on throughout their service term. That goes to help with living costs during the time that they're committing themselves to national service. They also receive an education award upon successful completion of their service term, which is actually $10,000 for full-time members. So that's a huge benefit. And the education award can be utilized to pay off student loans, current educational expenses, or even future educational expenses, as they have up to 7 years to utilize that award. And actually, members that are 55 and over can even transfer that award to a child, grandchild, or foster youth and under their care as well. Eligible full-time members may also receive healthcare benefits and childcare subsidy as needed. And members may also request a loan forbearance during their service term. Beyond those benefits, members are also extensively trained for service, so they truly grow as a professional, but also personally as well. Members then also gain experience in the field, which provides them a solid foundation to step into this as a career if they wish, or it also provides them a window for them to determine if that's the path that they want to take. It gives them that chance to have this year of a glance into this field. Next slide, please. So as we talked about, we do extensively train our members, and I'm not going to go over this in detail, but we just wanted to provide you a sense of the extensive trainings that we do provide to our members. We truly want to prepare them for service so they can be the best mentors that they can be. And we provide these trainings on many topics such as mandated child abuse reporting and trauma-informed care. And we also bring in experts from the field like California Youth Connection, Alliance for Children's Rights, the Ombudsman's Person Office, to really provide topics relevant to mentoring foster youth, such as foster youth rights, foster youth supports, an overview of the child welfare system. So we provide that extensive training to ensure our members are prepared for service. Next slide, please. Now that we've shared how we can prepare our members for service, what does that service really look like? Our members serve at agencies such as yours and provide individualized and intentional mentoring, which supports foster youth within your community. So their mentoring builds on academic engagement and achievement, life skills, career readiness, leadership development, and placement stability. So more specifically within those domains, if we could go to the next slide, Our members provide ILP workshops, life skills activities, academic assistance virtually right now. That is a huge, distance learning is a huge uplift for a lot of our families and foster youth. So our members have really stepped in to assist with distance learning, financial literacy and FAFSA support. They do mock interviews and resume assistance, and they connect their youth with resources and networks. And they really raise that youth voice and provide advocacy for the foster youth in your community. And most importantly, our AmeriCorps members really meet the youth where they're at and support their specific needs, which is determined through relationship building, as well as that Casey Life Skills Assessment that Mike was talking about, which is an evidence-based tool to guide their mentoring activities to ensure that we're really serving the youth in the most intentional and impactful manner. Next slide, please. So there are a variety of capacities in which a member can serve, and this is really depending on the needs of your agency as well as the members themselves. So for example, a member that serves 1,700 hours within our program year, which runs August 16th through August 15th of the next year, they would be serving about 35 to 40 hours a week. So they are full-time. Or maybe you have the need for a part-time member, so that would be a 900-hour member that would be serving between 20 to 25 hours per week if they start at the beginning of that program year. That option is pretty great for students. And of course, in the middle of that is our option for 1,200-hour members, which is 3/4 time. So they're serving anywhere between 25 to 30 hours a week. But either way, a member's service truly impacts the youth that they're mentoring, as well as expands your agency's capacity to serve those foster youth in a meaningful way. And there are a lot of options for when they can start to make sure it benefits your program the most, as long as it's within that program year. Next slide, please. So Jasmine, we always just like to share this quote from Jasmine, who previously served in our program. We feel that this quote truly embodies the benefit of serving through AmeriCorps. As she says, my AmeriCorps experience gave me a stronger voice, leadership opportunities, and enhanced skills to step forward to achieve my dreams for college and a self-fulfilling career. So that really embodies how this AmeriCorps program can lift up our AmeriCorps members themselves through their mentorship. Next slide, please. All right, thank you. Well, that's enough from me for now. I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to the folks that you really want to hear from, and those are our current partners and members. They are the people that are truly implementing this program on the ground. They are the ones serving the youth and implementing this program to fidelity, and we're so grateful to have them as partners and members. And you'll go ahead and get to hear their AmeriCorps experience firsthand. So first up, we're going to have Colette and Isabel from Siskiyou County Office of Education. Colette is the Foster Youth Services Liaison and Homeless Youth Coordinator at Siskiyou County Office of Education, as well as the AmeriCorps Supervisor. And Isabel is our exceptional member who is serving her second AmeriCorps term at the Siskiyou County Office of Education. So with that, I'll go ahead and let Colette take it away.
So thank you, Tabitha and Sherry and Mike, for letting me be a part of this discussion today. I've been attending John Burton Advocates webinars and trainings for years now, and I am just, when they asked me to speak, it was like being able to, it's like the Super Bowl for a foster youth or homeless liaison. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity. In 2018-19, we were doing a needs assessment with our youth, and we couldn't even get them to come to our needs assessment meetings. So that said to me that we needed to find a better way to engage with our older youth. And so I met with Robin Glenn from Glenn County Office of Ed, and she told me about this program, and it has been everything to our older youth. It has made so many differences for the youth that we work with. Isabel carries a caseload of about 15 transitional age youth, grades 8 through 12. Plus, she also serves our non-minor dependents that are placed in our counties, the youth 18 to 21 years old. And before COVID happened, our primary focus was life skills, transitional support, and advocacy for our youth. But after March 13th, we had to shift in our program because of COVID, and we went directly to academic support. And we met with our caregivers, and we offered Zooturing, which is Zoom tutoring, and that was a way that we connected our youth to Isabel. And we offer connection and technology was very important because a lot of our youth didn't have the right technology. So we really, Isabel let me know who needed what, and we were able to get that to our youth. And equity and making sure that our youth and our high school students had what they needed to be successful during that time. And it was also a time that she supported placement stabilization because of all the changes, and Isabel participated in many child and family team meetings to support our youth to make sure that they were getting the mental health services that they need, the school support to keep them in their placements, and also as always, FAFSA. I want to say that we had several youth that were like our outliers, like no matter what we did to try to draw them into our program, they just resisted. And Isabel really made connections with those youth from the moment that she started. She just started meeting them where they were at, and they are participating in school now. They are reaching out for support, and currently we have 3 seniors, and 2 of them have graduated early because they've just continued to blossom during this time of distance learning, and a lot of that is because of Isabel and her connection with them. And our other senior has 20 credits to graduate. So it's just been, the response from our districts about who's, Isabel, and it's really nice because Isabel graduated from that district too. So she had connections with teachers and counselors and secretaries and custodians, and they would really say, hey, this student needs you, or this student's experiencing this. And so Isabel was able to use her connections to connect the teachers to say, this teacher is someone you can trust. So that has been great. And this year we have a space for Isabel to meet with our youth, socially distanced, safe space. And that has really made it great to keep our youth connected because they don't get to go to school every day. We have a lot of hybrid learning. Some districts are all distance learning. So they have a place to connect with Isabel, and we have our case manager there, and we have a learning loss mitigation teacher. And Isabel's the connection because she says you can trust these people. These people want to help you. And so it's really removed a lot of barriers, and we're seeing kids really thrive and trust. And so for me as a supervisor, my style for Isabel is I want her to model. I want to model to Isabel. I want the supervisor skills and the mentoring skills. So we always talk about safety and boundaries with our youth. We're strength-based. I want Isabel to lead with strength-based. I want our time to talk about our strengths. We use growth mindset with our youth and with each other, and I want her to know that I want her to make mistakes because that's how we learn. I expect if she's perfect, it's not going to work out between us. So that's something. And then Maslow over Bloom is making sure we're meeting our youth, their basic needs, their physiological needs, their safety needs, and to make sure that they start to feel love and belonging within our community that we create with our youth. We're trauma informed. And my last thing with Isabel is that her college education is our first priority. So I'm going to talk to her about her school, what's going well, and she can talk. I kind of a helicopter supervisor sometimes. I'm really working to not be that as much, but I just want her to know that anytime she needs for school will make everything else work. So So I'm going to turn it over to the amazing Isabel, and we'll go to the next slide.
Thank you, Colette. My name is Isabel Greenman, and this is my second year as a mentor with the Siskiyou County Office of Education. I'm 20 years old, and I'm a full-time student at our local college, College of the Siskiyous. I'm also currently a non-minor dependent in the system. I went into the system when I was about 15, and I had my 4 younger siblings with me. And between then and now, I'd lived in probably 3 or 4 different homes. I'd had over 25 people within my life circling in and out. And I learned pretty quickly that if I wanted to have my way in the world, that I would have to learn how to make my own decisions. And I had to advocate for the wants and needs of myself and the people around me. And one really great example of this was actually working with a previous person who was working with Colette. I was having issues getting a hold of my mom in the hospital, and mentioned I was too scared to talk to my actual workers, and mentioned these concerns to this case manager, and he immediately began working to get me to see my mom. And the hospital was an hour away out of state, and so I was concerned about that, and he made all that happen. But basically, this has taught me that the importance of advocacy and having connections, and how that power can help save lives. This was right about the time that I figured out that I wanted to do the same for people just like me. It was the end of my junior year in high school, and before this, I wanted to be a writer. I didn't really see many options for myself there. And once I'd really understood that I could do something positive with my experiences, I completely changed my course and decided that I wanted to help youth at risk in my community. I began looking for what options that we had in our tiny little town up here in Siskiyou County, and I didn't see a whole lot besides just go to school and do what you can. Sometime in late May, I actually got a visit from Colette telling me about a new position that would be opening up, and of course, she was talking about AmeriCorps. The description was vague, but I knew that it would be absolutely perfect for me. Evidently, the interview went well after I spent a whole summer preparing, and my involvement with AmeriCorps has changed my life. In the beginning, there was a whole lot of training. Tabitha mentioned it was in Sacramento, and I was so intimidated. Tiny little town me, it was terrifying, but almost instantly, everyone was super welcoming. There was instantly a community, really. We understood each other and we connected so quickly. I learned so much about how trauma affects the brain and how youth's rights work, and I just found it fascinating to know more about my youth and myself and my experience and how to better help them. So after that, I obviously got straight to work. I began seeing youth mostly at their schools, doing, like Colette had mentioned, our focus was mostly on building life skills and doing transitional planning and advocacy for our youth. But when the pandemic hit, things definitely changed. It began with Zooms, a lot of, like you said, Zootering, and the number of youth that we had changed. The youth that needed help, came forward, and things really began to work out. As things progressed, we found patterns and managed to keep our youth afloat academically for the first year. But as the new year came around, schools reopened, and it was very, very important for them to be at school. So we opened up a new space and have been able to meet youth here, right across the street from the high school here in town. And that opened up so many doors for how we can help our youth. There's been so much development and participation. Since my involvement with AmeriCorps, I've also begun to get more involved with programs throughout all of Siskiyou County, including Youth Empowerment Siskiyou, and our Extended Opportunity Programs and Services Board for my college, both as a mentor and a participant through these programs. Working with AmeriCorps has taught me that I have the power to do so much more than I thought possible at the age of 18, 19, 20, anywhere. I didn't know. I've learned that outreach and connections are some of the most beneficial things that anyone can take anywhere, not just anyone in my field or my goals. And most recently, I've been working with our youth who are seniors to complete FAFSAs. And I'm happy to say that we've completed 100% of our goal for eligible applicants this year. And I just learned today that third senior actually has 13 credits left to go. So we're doing great. Anyway, thank you so much.
So now we're going to turn it over to Jessica. That would be great. So Youth to Leaders based out of Kern County.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Mendoza. I'm a program coordinator and AmeriCorps supervisor here with Youth to Leaders Education Foundation. I'll tell you guys a little bit about us. Y2L is a nonprofit organization dedicated to ensuring that the next generation of Kern County students have the opportunity to attend college. Our ultimate goal is to help increase the number of Kern County students that attain a higher education. So not only do we want them to go, but we want to make sure that they finish and that they earn their degree. And either if they want to go to a community college or university or a CTE, wherever they want to go, we just want to help support them complete their financial aid applications and enrollment and everything, answer any questions, motivate our students to feel like they can do it. And then I'll tell you guys a little bit about our AmeriCorps program. Our AmeriCorps members mentor students to allow them to develop the necessary skills for a successful transition into adulthood, including graduating from high school. Our mentors serve as role models because they're also on their own path to pursue their own post-secondary education. So they serve as great role models, showing the students that they can do it just because they're doing it as well. So they're being the example for them. Our AmeriCorps members provide direct services to foster youth, homeless, and disadvantaged youth in our community. Right now, during distance learning, we've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings, workshops, webinars, you know, the whole thing, food banks, any way that we can connect with our youth, we've been doing that. We've been having a lot of incentives to get the students to come out to our workshops. And even during the pandemic, we've already seen that we've been able to help some students go to college. So recently an AmeriCorps member told me that we have a student that will be going to SLO. So we're really excited about that, just to see our AmeriCorps members, the way that they're able to make an impact with our students. A little bit more of details about our specific program. We have a total of 14 AmeriCorps members, and we are currently serving at 16 sites, which the breakdown would be 9 high schools in the Kern High School district, and then 3 middle schools with the Greenfield School District, 4 court schools in the Kern County. And then I actually was an AmeriCorps member in 2018. I had an amazing experience being an AmeriCorps member. I had a friend tell me that she was an AmeriCorps member, and I was like, how do I get in? It sounds really fun, and I was a college student. I was towards the end of finishing my BA for liberal studies, and I was moving on to begin my credentials. And I was like, how do I still work, but also something that supports my education? And AmeriCorps fit in like chef kisses. Basically, it worked around my schedule. They have a living allowance that was able to provide the same income every month, which was great. So knowing I could put in the hours that I could that month and I would still be getting the same pay. And then with the goal of completing my 1,700 hours at the time to then get the education award at the end that would still support my education. And so I did that, and now I have that education award that I could use if I wish to go back to school and get a master's or continue my education. So it was a really great experience, not only for my education, but personally, it was a great experience as well, because with Y2L, they were able to provide me the opportunity to become an AmeriCorps member, and actually an AmeriCorps supervisor. And so that's really amazing because I was able to continue to give back to my community and to help other AmeriCorps members be a part of this journey as well, help other people get that opportunity and build the program. And it's just been an amazing experience to be able to still be a part of AmeriCorps, even at a different capacity.
Jessica, why don't we ask for, how about the next slide, please? So it'll show all of the amazing work you're doing. There you go. I think there's one. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I would strongly suggest that if you are interested in being an AmeriCorps member, I would definitely recommend for you to do it. It's just an amazing experience. It's very impactful. You get to build a lot of growth personally. You get to build your resume. You get to really network and meet a lot of people that will support you. You get to be a part of this community that is here to help out the community. And it's just an amazing experience. And then lastly, I want to give a big shout out to our Y2All AmeriCorps members for your amazing service. You guys are rock stars. Even through the pandemic, you guys are doing everything that you can to continue to learn about your youth and to service them. And I just want to say thank you so much to you guys for being here. Really, this work wouldn't be able to be done without you guys. Thank you. And then also thank you to CAPC for making this this process just really easy. Just to Tabitha, you're so amazing to support this program, and everything flows so smooth. And I definitely recommend other agencies to get AmeriCorps. It definitely is a huge asset to your program. Thank you.
Yeah, you might advance the next slide, Jessica. That was just amazing. So if you wanted to look up Youth to Leaders, they have a really wonderful website. They do have 14 AmeriCorps that you can go on and read about them. And so our last program is actually the program that I work with at Woodland Community College, serving Yolo County. So the next slide, please, would be great. And I'd love to introduce you to the amazing Zahira. So Zahira is going to introduce herself and tell you a little bit about our program. And again, I think as you guys start to think about, would this fit for you and be would it work? So one of the things I think that we've done really well in Yolo County is we have partnered. So definitely this is a relationship that's working together with our county Office of Education, my little independent living skills program, and my foster care education would never be able to support and do the work we're doing without sustaining that. And then our county TAY unit has been so amazing. So Zahira is going to talk a little bit about that, but we've been given Ramiz Ali as our coordinator. The youth, I kind of always felt like we were kind of the yin and the yang. You kind of get the gruff and the mellow. And they also pay our youth up to $100 a month to attend. So Zahira is going to share out, introduce our other two AmeriCorps members. So Zahira, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry. So as Sherry mentioned, I am one of the 3 AmeriCorps up here in Yolo County, working in partnership with our local community college, County Office of Education, and Health and Human Services Department. So as we kind of go from right to left here, we have 3 wonderful AmeriCorps who have really been working diligently and hard since August to really help the independent living program and also help youth who need it the most. So looking in the red, we have Shannon File, who has really been our go-to person for our older youth. So we do primarily work, with those 12 to 21-year-olds, but definitely more within that 14 to 21-year-old range. So a lot of our non-minor dependents are, seniors in high school looking to go to college, and Shannon is really the go-to person that has been taking that on with registering for classes, getting in, getting books, as well as helping a lot of our youth who are having housing instability get housing, get connected to resources, transitional age housing, and the such, which within our county and Sacramento County in between us. So she has definitely taken on that role, which has been amazing. In the middle, we have David Benitez, who is phenomenal, speaks Spanish, which I wish I did, but he definitely takes that part on in working with our youth who, really can only communicate that way, and definitely doing a lot more of the one-on-one tutoring, either through Zoom or in person, with the many youth who, need that academic support. And in all honesty, a lot of the young men who may feel more comfortable with a male kind of helping them out with their academics. So he has definitely been probably the biggest asset, in my opinion, to our program, and really doing that outreach and engagement with the youth. And lastly, myself over there, kind of looking kind of funny. I, before coming into this position of an AmeriCorps service member, attended the ILP program. So like Isabel, I am a current non-minor dependent, not from Yolo County originally, but just as soon as I came in, got into the program and just got immersed with, helping, wanting to do more and really wanting to elevate myself. So it wasn't until this past summer that I became an AmeriCorps service member, helping with the same program that had helped me. Because prior to becoming a member, I had graduated from UC Davis and thought, well, I'll just go home. It's a pandemic. I'll work at Safeway and that'll just be my life. But really coming into this position, I've seen maybe I can do more for myself. Maybe I can go and apply to these schools, try to get a master's degree in something, really try to push myself in the same way that I'm pushing these youth to make themselves better. So it's really kind of been that circular reinforcement and just support from both the youth and our 3 AmeriCorps. So I think as we continue on, we'll have a list of.
New slide, please.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Let's see. So I think it'll pop up soon. However, once we go on to the next slide, which shows our Yes ILP class topics, we really do try to cover a range. Let's see. I think it's getting there, but
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. So as seen here, we really do try to encompass a lot within our program. Prior to having 3 AmeriCorps, and also prior to COVID, we did have 1 AmeriCorps, Liz Winder, who has really taken on a position at the Yolo County Office of Ed to support our program, who did a phenomenal job with trying to juggle tutoring, life skills mentoring, and supporting ILP. Just, all as one human being, which was amazing. So now we have 3 AmeriCorps, as I said, and we also have this Zoom option, which has allowed us since last March to really push ourselves from doing 4 classes a month in-person ILP at our college to doing 2 classes a week, every week since last March, focusing on these topics and bringing in partners. So we've been doing college resources and readiness in partnership with the community college and the liaisons from EOP and people from Sac State and UC Davis coming in and getting our youth engaged with that. We just had our financial aid night a few Fridays ago, which was really spearheaded by the Yolo County Office of Ed, which was phenomenal. And we got at least 5 or 6 youth to complete their financial aid and many more to at least start it. So just, kind of dipping their toe in doing this application that, seems dreadful to a lot of them. We also like to do a lot of success in education classes, again, partnering with Woodland Community College, access to higher education, employment and readiness. So we've had people from private, companies come in to talk about career readiness and do series and workshops on what it means to have a career, what it means to have a job, and how to get into those positions, whether it be McDonald's or, working in a place that needs some initial after your name. We've also done many classes on foster youth rights, so just letting our youth know what their rights are. We're currently doing a series on healthy sexual development in partnership with a local organization that is funded through the Dibble Institute. So they've really taken on an interactive approach with our youth, using music, videos, interactive games to really get our youth to think about what healthy relationships in sexual development are. Looking towards puberty, gender, sexual orientation, LGBTQ+, information really going on those to provide a sense of normalcy and information to our youth. We've had CYC come in and banks, so a lot of partnerships within our county. I think as we move on to the next slide, we will see our primary ILP conversations. So we've utilized the Ansel Casey individually with our youth to track how they're doing with our mentoring and how they're doing in terms of independent living. In our ILP classes, we've utilized the EverFi financial literacy program. So we've been doing that with our youth about once a month to get them thinking about healthy relationships with money and how to budget and that sort of thing. So utilizing those AmeriCorps components, both for data purposes and also for real life engagement and enhancement with these youth. And I think as we continue
Next slide, there you go.
on, these are just some photos of the in-person things we've been doing and how we support our youth. So here I am with one of our youth opening his first bank account. So he definitely has a story on his own about his trials and tribulations, about getting a bank account, losing his card, all this kind of stuff. But we were really there to help him, support him in doing what he wants, listening to where he wanted to go to open a bank account, and really helping him throughout that process. So without AmeriCorps, this probably would not have been something that would have happened. But we've really taken on that approach in terms of independent living, and as well with David in spearheading the driver's ed program that we've also been running through our program. And as we continue forward, on our next slide, we'll see kind of just a little bit of the more fun things that we do. So about once a month or with every major holiday, we do in-person deliveries. So on the left, we have Liz Winder, who was our AmeriCorps last year, doing a birthday celebration in July with fun little goodie bags and a movie that we did for ILP. On the right, we have our Halloween baskets. We just did a Valentine's Day basket, and we're now prepping for Easter, and then graduation, and then restarting over come next summer. So a lot of that one-on-one real life face contact about once a month to keep our youth engaged and kind of entice them to stay in the program. So, you stay, you get paid, you get a little candy every month, and you learn something. So it's really been working out for all sides of the fence. And I think just as we continue on, a few more slides, just kind of as I mentioned, meeting twice a week through Zoom has really helped in comparison to meeting only once a week. And I apologize, but as we continue forward, looking at the resources that we've really used Kahoot and more or less Jeopardy in innovating new ways to keep the youth engaged. So we do offer gift card incentives. If you pay attention, in the class and are not just on their phone, we play a 15-minute Kahoot game at the end. Top 3 winners get a Target or Starbucks gift card. And we've definitely seen a dramatic increase in the amount of youth paying attention and also in the youth attending. So prior to using Kahoot and these games, we had about 8 to 10 youth attend ILP twice a week, and we now have upwards of 20. So these games have really been engaging and have really grown our program. And I think lastly, on the next slide, we'll just kind of see these cute little envelopes that we send out to our winners. So again, really encouraging them to participate, as you see with that $20 Target gift card, and just enhancing their overall lives with letting them know that they can learn, they can be in a safe place, and sometimes get a reward. So I think on that, I think we move to Tabitha, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you so much, Zahira. I really enjoy always, and I work with you guys on a daily basis, but I still love to hear all of the things, the amazing, tremendous service that you and Isabel are providing, and supported by Colette and Jessica. So thank you to our partners and our members for sharing their AmeriCorps experience and how they're truly implementing this program to benefit them, the youth they're serving, the members, and the agencies. So just briefly, we wanted to let you guys know a few things that the CAP Center does. We really take on the administrative role of this program, and we provide support and training to our partner agencies as well as our members along the way. I'm truly here to support each of you guys that partners with us, each of our members that enrolls in the program. We train our partner agencies on AmeriCorps and recruitment. We administer the living allowance and payroll and insurance. We monitor the members' service hours to ensure that they successfully meet their contracted hours. And of course, as you saw, we offer extensive training to the AmeriCorps members to ensure they have skills to serve the foster youth. And then for our members, just some top 5 things to know. They do earn all of those benefits of the living allowance, healthcare, education award, and they truly do build a partner's capacity to expand and enhance your programs to positively reach those lives of foster youth and non-minor dependents. And again, members just truly earn invaluable and workforce readiness. And they do expand their career options as well as join this network of AmeriCorps service members and really truly feel like a part of something that's bigger than themselves. And so we've heard very great feedback about that network that they get to build within their community. And of course, they serve to change those lives and improve TAE outcomes. Next slide, please. So as you can see, the California Foster Youth Initiative Program is a statewide program, and we have extensive reach throughout the state. We currently have 21 partners within 15 counties, ranging all the way from as south as Los Angeles, all the way up to our colleagues here, Siskiyou County, and of course, many places in between, like Y2L, which is in Kern County. We do have the ability to bring on 40 more AmeriCorps members next year. And so we are looking to partner with agencies such as yours. So if you are interested in those further conversations where we can really talk one-on-one about your organization and the FYI program and how we could partner and benefit your agency and your community, then go ahead and just please reach out to me. If you want to show the next slide, my contact information is listed there. I'd love to have further conversations with you about joining the partnership and how we can really bring this program into your agency and serve the foster youth in your community. So on that next slide, you'll see my contact information. And then after that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike.
All right, well, thanks, Tabitha, and thanks, everyone. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So as I mentioned before, I'm sure one of the questions that you probably have is, okay, we've talked about this whole thing, what's the cost? I'm not going to go over this whole chart, but I did want to let you know that we do have a number of different options as far as cost, and you'll have the slides at the end of the presentation. The slides will be sent out to everybody, so you'll have this. But the way that we break down the cost is to really identify what's best for your organization and what's best for the AmeriCorps members in your area. As you already know, the cost of living in some areas of California is rather high, and in other areas the cost of living is a lot lower. So we set up the different options for how much it might cost to have an AmeriCorps member based on what their living allowance is going to be with your organization, and then a cost is generated based on that. And we have 4 tiers right now, and then you can see that there's also the education award, which is a benefit at the end. So if you want to know more about this, as Tabitha said, these are the kinds of conversations that we have as we move forward. If you're interested in being a partner, we can go ahead and we can go over this and really talk about what those costs are. Go ahead, next slide. One of the things that you're probably wondering is, okay, where do I get the match? So for just this year, the U.S. Health and Human Services Organization, Administration for Children and Families, put out a list. This is the first time it's ever happened. A list of federal grants that can be used as match. So I'm not going to go over these again, but just know that there are federal avenues, and if you have one of these federal funding streams, you can use these federal funding streams as match towards utilizing AmeriCorps members, if that's something you want to do. Go ahead, next slide. And then along with the federal funding, there are other funding sources that are used across the state, such as the Community College or University Foundations Fund, FKCE, Independent Living, ILS programs, County Office of Education, McKinney-Vento. All those are state funding streams that can also be used as match, or any private kind of funding that you might have for your organization. And with that, I think that's it for me, and I'm going to pass it back to Sherry so she can finish us out.
Yeah, I'd just like to answer a couple of questions that perhaps we didn't share clear enough. So if you go back to looking at our statewide partners, this can be a high school program, it can be a university program, Guardian Scholars, community college, EOP&S, student services, anyone who has a population of serving foster youth or non-minor dependents. And as long as there is a population of our specific targeted audience, it can also include homeless and other vulnerable, first generation students. So one of the things is to be creative. And so I feel really lucky that I have gotten to meet so many other people. So this year we partnered also with our EOP&S and Student Services program. We offered a dual enrollment, a concurrent enrollment class. We found a Counseling 10 Connect to College Success. And we had several of our ILP students actually do concurrent enrollment. We did it in a very small controlled setting to make sure that everybody was successful. Worked in partnership with also the instructor, and it worked out very beautifully for a first step in. So wanted to ask if there's any other, Debbie, if you're on, perhaps a question that I haven't answered, but we're here for you. I think that there's been a lot of creativity up and down the state for a variety of programs, and I think, again, it's not scripted. This is really about you having this opportunity to look at your work, look at your site. We can help you be creative along those dollars and cents. So we did put in these kind of funding opportunities. I know that all of us that work in a community college, I being one, we have access to foundation dollars. And so sometimes it's the ability to go and do a little grant, a community grant, because we can actually bring on a full-time AmeriCorps member and they're going to get, you know, their living allowance of over $20,000 and that $10,000 Ed Award at a cost to us of less than $15,000, closer to $10,000. So I know it's the best bang for the buck. It just sometimes takes us being a little creative around finding that. And I know at my community college in our county, everybody knows this program. We operate right under the president of our college, the superintendent of schools, and the director of health and human services. And all of us think this is the best thing that really has ever happened to our programs. And so we just want to be able to figure out and continue to make this happen. And I know that Colette and I, and she mentioned Robin Smith, and there's, you know, and I know Jessica as well, almost all of us with this program, when it's worked, it's just worked so beautifully. So Debbie, any other questions? I know we're right at time.
Yeah, so this is Sarah, and we have a few questions that have rolled in that I saved for you. One that I think is really interesting that someone brought up was whether or not the AmeriCorps members have to get screened to be cleared by CCL to work within the TP Plus programs.
So Tabitha, that's more of a question for you. Do you want to jump in?
Yes, absolutely. That is a great question. We do run several background checks. It's a 3-tiered process of live scan, TrueScreen, and field print. So we actually run all those background checks. We cover the cost. And so we take that on and make sure that they are cleared and eligible for service. Some of our service sites like to do their own background checks as well. So you would be welcome to vet your member, as well as we also are required to run all of those background checks to ensure that they are cleared for service. And that brings me to another point as well, is that our partners are the ones that actually interview and recruit and choose the members for their agency. And so you're doing all of that because you really know who's going to be the best fit for your agency and the program that you are running. And you may even know people right now that are currently in your program that may be a great fit as an AmeriCorps member. So you let us know which person you would like to bring on as a member, and then we work to run all of those background checks. And it's state and federal background checks and the NSOPW checks as well.
Next question.
Awesome. So the other question that we keep getting a lot of is, how do folks make referrals? And I know this probably looks different in each county and within each program, but that seems to be a question about.
Well, I think I know what you're asking. So in ours, we mentioned that we had one AmeriCorps our first year, Liz Winder, and she actually was given a position by our county office of ed. And within that position, she's helping us coordinate. And we have a monthly community partners meeting with all of our high schools and middle schools and all of us, CASA, anyone that's working with Arte. And we developed a referral form. And then it all comes into Liz, and then she assigns, if it's specifically financial literacy, tutoring, and of course, when anyone's assigned, our goal is always everyone gets Ansel Casey, and everyone we really do encourage to reach out to provide more than just tutoring. Tutoring is sometimes just that, let's get in the door. So we've come up with that, but everybody, everyone seems to have done their own, but we're happy. All of us that have done this are happy to share with what we have and then allow you to just make it work for yourself. I hope that's the answer to that question.
Excellent. There's another question about the age requirements for the AmeriCorps members. Someone indicated that they have students who would be interested in participating and gaining the leadership skills, but some of their students range from 20 to 40 years old.
Yeah, so the beautiful thing is AmeriCorps can be any adult, 18 on, and our goal kind of, I think if you were looking for a perfect fit, I think we kind of did it. In our group, we really wanted to have a non-minor dependent and somebody that actually was perhaps a gap year student, somebody between a bachelor's and a master's or a master's and a doctorate. And so, you know, we kind of set that out as our personal goal. It also can be somebody like myself. You know, you kind of get to an age where maybe you're looking at retirement. Tabitha mentioned that. So if you're 55 and older, you can actually serve as an AmeriCorps and give that amazing $10,000 educational award for the completion of successful service to my foster children, or I could give it to any of my grandchildren, or I don't have birth children, but I could give it to my children. So that's a beautiful part as well. So you can, again, you get to go out and choose your own people. And right now, this is perfect timing. If you decided to do this, to kind of get a hold of us, let us, without a rush, you can start kind of the contractual process, start doing that filler to find your AmeriCorps, and really sit down and say, you know, what is it that we want? So if you look at our group of 3, you know, Zahira is someone with lived experience. Shannon is a little bit older. She actually has a master's degree, again, with lived experience. We really wanted a male, and David just fit that bill. He had just graduated with his bachelor's degree and also spoke Spanish. He does not have the lived experience. When we put our little group together, it just seemed like a really good balance. And we're talking already about what are we looking for next year, as 2 of our members are moving on. And how are we going to just position ourselves in the best interest of our programs? And every year we're learning. So I think as you step into this, you'll kind of get a better feel. Like Jessica came on here, and you know, she started as an AmeriCorps, and now she's supervising 14 of them down, and that is our largest program. So again, it's any adult.
Amazing. So I think we have a couple more minutes so we can take a few more questions. And I have one that I think would actually be really great for the AmeriCorps members to answer. So the question is, what do the partnerships with EOPS or college universities look like? And the follow-up to that question is, how do the students balance out their academic responsibilities with their AmeriCorps participation?
Isabel, do you want to go first? How do you balance school and being an AmeriCorps?
I'll go for it. So for me, I mean, luckily with everything going on right now, school has become more online and a lot easier to go to work and come home and do it on my own time. But AmeriCorps and luckily Colette has been very gracious with how we assign hours and scheduling. I think just the biggest help factor for me was just to communicate. You know, if you have any needs, bring them up. And I think also that's one of the benefits of having a number of hours that you can choose, you know, half time, 3/4 time, or full time. But yeah, also a great thing about AmeriCorps is that you can work at any time. You can do weekends, you know, after, you know, during work hours, after, whatever it takes to achieve those hours. And I don't know, it just, you take it day by day.
Jessica, do you want to answer next?
Yes, definitely. So sharing your school schedule with your AmeriCorps supervisor, and then between both of us, we make the arrangement of like what's going to work best for the students and for the AmeriCorps member. So typically their classes, we work around them. School comes first. We're here to support education. And so the first priority is our AmeriCorps member. They typically go at least 3 times to the school site. Right now during virtual learning, it's a lot easier to do even more hours. Now the AmeriCorps members are more available since they could hop off from their school Zoom meeting and jump right on to meet with their students. So it's very, very easy. How Isabel said, communication is key, and really just communicating everything. We never have any obstacles or challenges about like the AmeriCorps members' school schedule with their AmeriCorps time. So it works out very well.
And then the last would be you, Zahira.
Yeah, well, I will admit that at least for our 3 AmeriCorps, we had all graduated from school, so, or, you know, are not in school at the moment. However, COVID has definitely, you know, changed everything. As Jessica mentioned, most of the things that we are doing are virtual, so it is very flexible, at least with our program. but education would come first in any kind of format. So it is definitely workable, and especially with the different tiers in terms of hours that an AmeriCorps service member can do. School and working as a service member can definitely go hand in hand.
Yeah, and I just want to finish that, they get to count driving time to and from, visiting youth. We have a lot of education, so, they can attend a lot of training that would count a percentage of their hours. So I think the beautiful part about this is there's an incredible amount of flexibility. And I've loved having AmeriCorps. Zahir has become the voice of young people in the education classes I provide for my caregivers. And we actually have in Los Angeles County, Fostering Unity has, are there 7 of them? I think have 7 what they call care partners. They're actually resource parents that are supporting caregivers that are taking in transitional age youth. And that program is, expanding as well and has had a lot of success. So again, I think, just looking at all of this, the one beautiful part about this program is there's an amazing amount of flexibility, and we're giving so many opportunities for our young people. If we can hire and bring on some of our non-minor dependents as our AmeriCorps, they're going to get a living, they get a check twice a month, they complete their service. If they're full-time, $10,000 towards their education. It's just, there's so many great things about this program. If once you kind of get in and you get over the little hump of the complications of just figuring it out, I think almost all of you are going to say, I wish I had not hesitated. Honestly, I was one of them. Like, this is, where do you get the money? And then once I figured that out, it was like, it was there the whole time. I just didn't quite see that whole vision for all of this. And this program was put together by people like you. We had transitional age youth at the table, CYC, the ombudsperson, we had caregivers, professionals, and we just kept asking that question, what is the magic that we need to better provide for our young people so that they have wider doors of opportunity? And this is what we've come up with. And I think that on behalf of everybody that had a little piece of this, that we've done an amazing job. And Mike and Tabitha are really, really easy to work with at the CAP Center. We want to make it work. And so we're all here just to support you to make that a reality.
So can I answer the question about the EOPS and College Connection? So Isabel's on the EOPS board, we both are. And one thing is that she's more familiar with the EOPS programs, and she knows how to connect our youth. There's a lot of different requirements for EOPS and the different services. So she can say, did you make your appointment with your EOPS counselor? Have you got your paperwork turned in? Are you at the right amount of credits? So she has more information about that to share with our transitional age youth to get them those services.
Yes, thank you.
Right, and I don't see any other questions that have not already been answered. So with that being said, you will receive an email from JBay later today with the PowerPoint. And if you have any other questions, please feel free to reach out to our wonderful panelists who presented for us today. And I just want to briefly just thank you all for joining. This was such an amazing presentation, and I personally very much benefited and enjoyed from hearing from the AmeriCorps and the lived experts who were in foster care and are doing this work. So thank you all, and I hope that folks take this back and start brainstorming how they can bring this into the work that they're doing.
And on that note, on behalf of all of us, we just are so grateful that you decided to join us this afternoon and take the time. And really, we're really nice people, and we're not going to pressure you to do this, I assure you, but we're really here to support and answer the questions. And the timing is perfect right now to kind of put your thinking caps on. We launch again, as Tabitha said, August 15th. And it's really best not to start at the last minute, though we know how to do that too, but prefer not. But now would just be the exact right time. We can give you an initial contract just so that you start running it through your systems. If there's any glitches, we could get that worked out. Concurrently, you start looking in your circles for who might be an amazing partner in AmeriCorps. I keep assuring my team, I didn't know any of my AmeriCorps 3 years ago. And that somehow once you put out those fillers, and I know a lot of people, I know Debbie knows a lot of people, We all do. And we're all, you know, I send out emails and just say, hey, there's somebody in Fresno or Los Angeles or, you know, whatever county or district that you're in, does anybody happen to know? And it's amazing how when you do that circle, how many people really want to help and be a part of this. And I really would encourage you within your own communities, you know, have partner discussions, because it's best, I think, in partnership. It really does provide this richness of opportunity. And I know in my county, the Office of Ed had far more dollars and cents to spend. They had some money they were able to roll over. I, on the other hand, got cut last year. And so it was just beautiful timing that it, you know, really by doing this work together, it just was a win-win, and nobody won more than our transitional age youth and young adults, young adult dependents, I call them. I know our non-minor dependents, but in our program, like I know we were good, but now we're just so much better. And I know the youth really love it. And Zahira and these young people that come and just are so innovative. And I never had heard of Kahoot in my life. And now we're all like, oh my God, let's play Kahoot. And everyone wants to win those little gift cards. And I love it that I write them. And some of the kids, young people call me, oh, Miss Sherry, I got your card. Oh, you made my week. It's just because I tell them they're so smart. You're so brilliant. We're so lucky to have you. And I think, you know, just any opportunity to really bolster their confidence. So on behalf of all of us, thank you, thank you. We're so grateful for this opportunity. Thank you, John Burton. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Sarah, and all of our amazing speakers. I just feel like I'm in the best circle always, and I'm so grateful. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you all.